Your Python application is crashing, or worse, silently returning the wrong result. But the bug is buried in a C++ library. Let me show you how to trace back and forth across language boundaries to find the root cause. As you can see, this Python script fails. So let's open Python in UDB so that we can run this script while recording its execution. We will open UDB with the Python binary to get started. And here we use extend Python to prepare UDB for recording and debugging a Python script, and then use the upy-start command to get the script launched with recording enabled. Now that's initialized, we can have a look at the Python layout to make it easier to see what's going on. We can see the error message we saw before at line 51. So let's use upy-break with the script name and colon line number to set a breakpoint in the Python script. Then we can use upy-continue to run until we hit that breakpoint. Here we're at line 51. We've seen the error in iteration 762. We can see the value for square root cache was 0 when it should have been 15. So let's see how that happened. We can use upy-reverse next to step back to where this value came from at line 47. Cache.calculate is a C++ function, so we can put a temporary breakpoint in the C function and then continue until we hit that breakpoint. Now we are in a C++ context. We need to switch the layout, so in this case, let's use layout dashboard. Here we are at the start of the cache calculate function. We can finish to get to the end and confirm it returns 0. Here we can reverse step to the point that 0 was actually returned. But we need to step back through some C++ libraries until we get to the return at line 40. So let's look at cache I. We can see that it contains 255 and 0. So this is the right element for the number we were seeking, but it has an incorrect square root value. Let's use last cache I.square root to see the last time this value was updated. We are now earlier in the recording, and we can see we are trying to store -2 billion. So let's just check the type. Cache is a vector. The square root value stored as an unsigned char. When storing a max negative int into an unsigned char, we get 0. We also see we're storing -1 into the number value, which wraps to 255. We can see we were looking for the square root of 0, but didn't find it in the cache, and then tried to populate it and adjacent values, but didn't range check to prevent square root of -1 being attempted. We can use upy-reverse step at this point to step back into the Python code where this function was called. Let's switch back to the Python layout. We can see we're at iteration 756 of the Python loop, so we've traveled back in time. If we do a upy-continue at this point, we can see we're now back at the 762nd iteration where the corruption was detected. This shows how to debug a Python script calling into C++ code with UDB's time travel capabilities. Thanks for watching.